Title Update 2 made a few changes to the Sword and Shield, some of which are good, and some of which I do not like. Let's go over them. First, we have a couple buffs for the Hard Basher combo. Each shield hit received a motion value increase of 3, for a total increase of 9. Additionally, the stun damage for each hit has also been increased, and although I do not know the exact numbers, it does KO the training dummy slightly earlier than before. These buffs make the Hard Basher combo more viable to use now, without it being overpowered. I like this change. Next, we have a buff for Perfect Rush, specifically for the Scaling Slash multi-hits. Its previous motion value was 20, but now it's 34, which is quite a large increase. Not sure why it says slightly in the patch notes. Again, this buff makes Perfect Rush more viable to use now, although I think Perfect Rush is a bit too backloaded. I'd rather see the earlier hits of the combo get buffed, but this buff is better than nothing at least. Unfortunately, the buffs pretty much end here, and the rest of the changes are nerfs. The first nerf is an adjustment to make Guard Slash harder to perform consecutively. Now previously you were able to spam Guard Slash really fast, and because you can perfect guard from a Guard Slash, this led to kind of a cheesy way to fish for a perfect guard. It doesn't work all the time, but it certainly requires no skill. Now, the rates at which you can Guard Slash is noticeably slower, making this method to cheese a perfect guard less viable. The Guard Slash spam wasn't overpowered or anything, but again it took no skill to perform. Out of all the nerfs, I think this one is most warranted. The next nerf we have is that the number of iframes you get from Sliding Swipe has slightly decreased. Now, I'm not too sure why this needed a nerf. I guess you could spam the Sliding Swipe just like Guard Slash, but you don't really benefit from spamming Sliding Swipe like you do with Guard Slash. At least with Guard Slash, you can activate Offensive Guard and follow up with Counter Slash, but with Sliding Swipe, you just kinda lose out on DPS. To me, Sliding Swipe is a better tool for repositioning rather than iframing through attacks, so this nerf isn't that significant. The next two nerfs, however, are pretty bad, and ones I really do not like. First, we have a nerf to both Chop and Side Slash, both moves having their motion values decreased by 1. And second, we have a nerf to Counter Slash, which had its motion value decreased by a whopping 10. Now the reason why I do not like these nerfs is because Chop, Side Slash, and Counter Slash are all fundamental moves for Wild Sword and Shield, and they're all used very frequently throughout a hunt. So while I think Chop, Side Slash, and Counter Slash will still be very strong, these nerfs will certainly have a negative impact on optimal Sword and Shield gameplay. Now what's confusing to me is that Capcom themselves have stated that there will be no nerfs as part of their adjustment goals. So why are there nerfs? And furthermore, if you hadn't noticed already, the Sword and Shield received more nerfs than buffs. So not only have they not aligned with their adjustment goals, they actually nerfed the Sword and Shield more than they buffed. Thanks, Capcom. Again, I do like the buffs to Hard Basher and Perfect Rush, and there are a few more buffs I think the Sword and Shield needs, but I'm not a fan of the nerfs, as it not only negatively affects the core gameplay of Wild Sword and Shield, but also goes against Capcom's own adjustment goals. Regardless, Sword and Shield is still a really fun weapon to use, there's still more Sword and Shield contents to come, so if you aren't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe since it helps me out so much. Also, feel free to comment down below if you have anything else to add. Like this video if you enjoyed it, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.